So here we go for the fifth part of our civilization adventure. The war against the Norwegian Empire is still ongoing, and the rest of the civilizations pretty much hate me. But aside from that, my start has been more than awesome. Now, I want to talk about some stuff which I skipped out before. For instance, if you look at my capital, then you can see these insane mountain tiles. As I said before, their combined yield is 2 food, 4 production and 2 gold, and this goes along very well with these flatland farms which offer me already 8 food and 1 production. With these great tiles surrounding my capital, it is growing very fast and additionally has a very high production. So this led me to the decision to attempt building a new world wonder. So I tried building the Forbidden Palace or Forbidden City. I'm actually not sure how it is called. But what this world wonder does is it gives you an additional policy slot. This is really awesome. Usually what you do is that you, since it's a Joker card, you will most likely put in a economic card, and these cards are really insane. They, for instance, add to each trade route plus 4 gold, and if you have like 10 trade routes you get plus 40 gold. So really powerful things you can do with such a world wonder. Another world wonder which I attempted to create is the Portella Palace in the little city a bit to the south of my capital. The Portella Palace is a bit similar, but it's much weaker. It gives you an additional diplomacy card also within your government, but the diplomacy cards usually are much worse than the economic cards, for instance. They usually, what they do is they help you with the city-states, with creating more envoys and with your spy projects. But like I said, the economy cards are by far the best cards in the game. Now, as we see, capturing Kabul was at least a little bit more of a challenge, and as you see, both of my crossbowmen are actually injured, but well, anyways, I managed to siege down the city, and with this knight unit I conquered the city, and now we have one more city within our empire. Now Kabul is mostly within desert, but once again we have a river flowing through the city, so therefore it's actually a quite nice city considering the Pantheon which I chose, which allows me to get 1 production for all flatland tiles. And also what you saw right here is that the leader of the Norwegian Empire, Harald, offered me a very nice deal for making peace with him. That's what I said before. I only had to kill 3 or 4 of his units, and now I get like massive amounts of gold every turn. So since I don't even know where the Norwegian cities are located, and I don't really know where I should attack, it kind of makes sense to accept a peace treaty. So what I see at the moment, in contrast, are the cities of the Scythian Empire. So maybe at this point it would be beneficial to enter a war with the Scythian Empire. In terms of research, I don't really have a next milestone. So after building the Petra and the crossbowman tech, I think I just go with the technologies where I already have the Eureka, so I don't waste valuable turns for technologies without a Eureka. And in terms of my culture tree, I always try to get the governments with more policy cards, and usually for the 6 card governments I try to get the Merchant Republic, and for the I think 9 cards government, I'm not sure if it's 8 or 9 cards, I try to get democracy. But like I said, these goals are not with such a high priority. Usually I just pick the technologies for research where I already have the Eurekas. So as I said, so that I don't waste valuable turns. So since the game will remain a bit static for the next couple of turns, I will skip a few of the turns and jump right into the next conflict. So the next conflict, as I predicted it, will be against the Scythian Empire, and the Scythian Empire actually is one of the weaker civilizations so far. So it seems like the other civilizations already have abused the Scythian Empire by a little bit. And I will even get a bit stronger since as you can see here, I researched the technology for upgrading my crossbowman from crossbowman into what are they called? I think Gatling guns. So this is actually a really high tier unit already and really overpowered at this state of the game. And yes, as you can see, I just declared war on Tomiris and am aiming at conquering this city, which you see here within the east side of the game. In the meantime, I founded a new city in the northeast of the map because it offered me access to a luxury resource which I didn't have before. There are 2 ember tiles, really nice for me. And yeah, we've talked about it before. My capital finished the Forbidden City. So now I started creating a new world wonder within my capital, which is the Colosseum. It only takes me 7 turns to finish the Colosseum, but since it's such an early world wonder, the possibility that someone steals the Colosseum is quite high. Now, finishing the Colosseum would actually be awesome because it gives you amenities, so it makes your population more happy. So I really hope that I'm able to finish this world wonder. Aside from that, as you might have seen, I started creating the first industrial districts, really helpful since they boost your production output. And I also created the first bombards. Now cities will get harder to siege down. Here we go, here we see the finished Colosseum, as I said before. So, but now back to what I wanted to say. The bombards will be really helpful in sieging down the cities, especially since pretty much all cities now have quite a lot of defense points and usually also a wall, and so it will take multiple turns to siege down a city without a bombard. If you can bring a siege unit close enough to a city, then you can take down a city in 2 or 3 turns. So the siege units are really helpful. While they are, I would say, optional in the early game, they are really mandatory in the mid or late game. Without them you will have a hard time to siege down any cities. Now, a cool part about the Rise and Fall expansion is that they added a completely new system, which is called the Loyalty system, and it prevents that you can just roll over your enemy and conquer all their cities within like a couple of turns. So how does this loyalty system work? If you capture a city, then it is possible that this city flips back to its owner. So first of all, if you lose the loyalty of a city, the city will just become a free city, basically a barbarian city, and after a couple of turns it can basically flip back to its owner. And how is this all determined? So basically, if a city is surrounded by a lot of other cities, the pressure from the other cities creates loyalty to one of the sides, to one of the neighboring sides. And if the pressure from the neighboring cities is too high, a city, like I said, can flip to another civilization. And this is exactly what will happen here. Now if you look at this war front, you see that actually there is only one of my cities which is very close to Tomiri city, and I don't see it yet, but of course on the right side, on the east side, there are really tons of cities of Tomiris and also of the Norwegian Empire, so the pressure on this city which we see here from the other civilizations is much higher. So the last game I had was also on Deity, and I felt like maybe I could do it, and my big problem was when I started the wars against the enemies, I had a really hard time to conquer cities, and I think I even managed to capture a city, but then the loyalty pressure was so high that the city constantly flipped back, and so basically in the end I wasn't able to finish the game at all. Since I couldn't progress at the war front, and there are always civilizations which use the time which you stagnate to progress, and yeah, in the end they get stronger and stronger. So now we have a completely new problem. Aside from creating a strong army and trying to push forward in terms of technology, you also have to keep in mind the loyalty. And I really like the loyalty system because, for instance, it prevents the artificial intelligence from forward settling. This was very extreme in Civilization 5, I have to say. The computers just sent a settler in front of your city, like out of no reason, and then there was like this conflict out of nowhere because now you were neighbors. So this got a little bit better in Civilization 6, but with this loyalty system, the computers cannot forward settle anymore, because if they put a city right in front of your cities, the pressure from your cities on this other new city will be too large and the city will flip to you. But on the other hand, I think the system also has kind of some flaws, because you see now this scenario right here, right? We have a neighboring city. There is no space for me to, well, settle down another city. I mean, I could take the city-state, but I mean, I would lose all my envoys within the city-state, so why would I do that? So it's kinda stupid, because if I conquer the city, it will immediately flip back. Now, there are ways to push your loyalty, but in my opinion, there are not enough tools to increase the loyalty. So one way to increase the loyalty is sending a governor into a city which you conquered, and usually when I conquer a city, I immediately send in a governor. Now, as you can see here, the city already is losing loyalty, and the problem is, for instance, in this city, I think I only have like 3 or 4 turns until the city flips and gets a free city. Now the governor produces 8 loyalty, so the governor would help me in stabilizing the city, but unfortunately it takes, I think, like 5 turns until the governor is established within a city. So the governor alone is not enough. Now there are, I think, like 2 or 3 policy cards which can increase the loyalty output of a city. I think there is one military card. If you have a unit stationed within a city, you get +2 loyalty, and then I think there is also a diplomacy card where you also get +2 loyalty, but both of these cards really don't help a lot. Now the only other way how you can improve loyalty is, I think, with one additional governor, and she increases the loyalty output of neighboring cities. But all these measures combined are not enough to prevent a city like the city we see here, with a lot of other neighbor cities from flipping. So while I think this is a really cool mechanic, I think there should be some more measures with how you could stabilize a city. Like I said, the last game I had, it was on Deity, and I had a really great start with a lot of nice natural wonders surrounding my capital, stuff like that. And I still was not able to beat the game because the cities I captured flipped back to their owners all the time. Now, of course, there are possibilities how you can get rid of this loyalty system, and the way to do it is that you capture not only one city after another city, but that you capture a couple of cities, and then of course the city pressure from one city to another is gone. But of course, capturing cities simultaneously is not that easy. You need a big army for that, and it's quite hard to do. But for me, I think it was the thing I had to do here because, like I said, cities were flipping all the time. Now in the meantime, some cool stuff happened. So I researched the next government level. I researched the Merchant Republic, and the Merchant Republic is actually really nice. So aside from offering, I think, 6 policy slots, it also allows you to build some more trade routes. And since I already built the Forbidden City, now I really have quite a lot slots for my economic policy cards, and this is actually really great. So as you see, a new player entered the world stage, and it's actually Egypt. And I told you there must be some strong enemy, and it appears Egypt is the most probably the strongest civilization. Now you see here I offer a trade with her, and you see how many cities she has. So she has a lot more cities than myself, and in general Egypt appears to be the strongest civilization within the game. So if we take a look at the score screen, we can see that I have 600 player score at the moment and about 300 military score. And if we, for instance, compare this to the Norwegian player, we see that he also has 600 score, and but he has 4 times the military score. But if we look at the Egyptian player, then we see that she has 800 player score and 1000 military score. So she's currently the leading civilization. And I mean, it seems that she's on another continent, or at least I don't see any cities of her so far. So she will have a chill time to expand and to grow. So she will definitively be a hard civilization to fight in the later stages of the game.